you know your position, right?
Excellent. Where is my position in a minute?
Die Mikros sind noch aus, ne? Gerade. Ja, das ist gut. Okay, dann gib dir dann Zeichen, wenn wir das brauchen. Okay?
I start here, but then I will turn it over to Lisa. Das wäre gut, weil ich ungefähr hier jede Menge. So, Irena, mir wird gesagt, hier sei noch ein Mikro übrig. Ich will es kurz mal testen und dann...
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. واحد اثنين ثلاثة.
Und ich sagte, das ist so ein Vorteil. Früher mit diesen Putzendingern, die habe ich nie getroffen und kam mir immer vor, wie der Arsch, der es nicht gebracht hat. Das ist sogar für Leute.
Dein Mikro kümmert sich selber.
Mach ich. Ich lege es hier hin und dann ist ja alles eingepasst.
Irina, kannst du ein bisschen noch das hier hochziehen am Rand? Das Licht, dass wir ein bisschen... Ja, nur ein bisschen. Bei der Präsentation kannst du das da runter machen. Weil sonst sind wir da so geblendet, wir sehen auch gar nicht, ob jemand hier im Dom sitzt. Traurig. So ist besser. Ja, aber so ist gut. Ja, ich glaube, du bist besser, wenn die ganze Blende. Ja, so ist es. Genau. Well, this is
Are we rolling? We are live. That's good.
So, ladies and gentlemen, visitors to the 17th Jena FullDome Festival, we welcome you very much for our final panel, which is a panel about the future of immersive media, the ideas, the fears, the anticipations that you might have around the development of immersive media, which of course is the theme that concerns us here at the FullDome Festival in Jena a lot. And I'm really thrilled to tell you that it's not only the, let's say, 500 people that are here in the Dome in Jena. There are also many, many people all around the world who are following this on our free live stream. So I extend a warm welcome to you, to the world on 5 or even more continents who are watching this tonight. Actually, would the audience be so kind as to welcome the world? Oh yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dome family, for welcoming the world. The whole world is watching, and without further ado, I will move with my microphone to the beautiful panel that is assembled today to inform you, to inspire you, to confront you, to heal you with everything that you wanted to know about the future. And no other than the charming Lise Endler will be moderating this talk. She will guide the panelists and you, the audience, and the worldwide people into the panel Spatial Feeling Future. Lise, take it from here.
Thank you, Mickey, so much for the introduction. Thanks a lot. I am Lise Endler, and I will be guiding you through this panel, through our future talk. I am a FullDome enthusiast and a media and performance artist, and I also teach immersive media at the Bauhaus University in Weimar. And I'm also part of the FullDome Festival team since 2016. And thus, I think about the Dome and its potentials and also challenges a lot. And I talk with my friends and colleagues about that a lot, and we seem to circle around questions like, why are we so drawn to this Dome? And what kind of content do we want to see created in this Dome? How does the future look like in the Dome and in immersive media? And what kind of impact does what we do here have at the world at large? So today, I hope to maybe get some answers to those questions. And the future panel here is an initiative from the FullDome Festival, and we seek to show the innovative character of the Dome and also celebrate the Dome and show that it is a very wide and awesome platform for all sorts of new media. So the panel will go like this. I will give a really brief introduction to every panelist here so you know their names. And then each panelist will have 2 minutes to make a brief statement about themselves. And then this will be followed by, hopefully, a lively debate where you, the audience, are also welcome to ask questions. So if you ever have a question, I have to be honest, I don't see your hands if they would be raised, but maybe Mickey can see your hands if they are raised. And then we can bring a microphone to you and you can ask a question. Yes, and it is a real tremendous pleasure and an honor, and I feel really humbled that we have this panelist of experts in their field here with us today. I had the chance already to talk some of them during our festival and enjoyed a lot of pleasant conversations, and I can't wait to dig into the nitty-gritty of Dome and immersive media. And I would just like to give you a brief introduction. So first off, to my left, we have, is it the left? The right from you. We have Kate McCallum. She is a multimedia producer and writer from Vertex Immersion Media. And then next up here we have Ruth Colson. She is a FullDome consultant and producer from Festoon. Next to her is Maximiliane Nirsche, a director and experience designer currently exploring 360-degree storytelling and AI. And we have also Dennis Rudolph to the very left. Here he's a conceptual artist working in the fields of augmented reality, virtual reality, and painting, which you can see here in our backdrop. Those beautiful paintings are done by this young man. And then we also have, and I'm really humbled and honored to say that, we have a member of parliament with us today, Dr. Holger Becker, right next to me, from the SPD here in Jena. And then we also have, last but not least, Sergei Prokofiev. He is an architect and immersive film director at Studio Svitala, did I say it? Svitala in Berlin. So that's our panel. And now I would hand over to Kate McCallum, so she has a chance to say a few things about her work and herself, and then hand over the mic to the other panelists so we get to know them a little bit.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you to the whole Jena Festival team for the invitation to be here. It's always such a thrill. My name is Kate McCallum. I'm based in Los Angeles, and I come from a traditional media background. I worked for 10 years at Universal Studios in film and television production with some of the top writers and showrunners in the world, doing shows like Law & Order, Miami Vice, Equalizer, half-hour sitcoms. And then I also spent 10 years at Paramount Studios and worked in development. So I developed and sold TV movies and off-net series concepts. And then in 2006, I met Ed Lance at a conference on media and consciousness, and he was showing a presentation and talking about these domes because Ed worked for Spitz, and Spitz is one of the companies that Evans and Sutherland's own to build planetariums around the world. So Ed had spent 20 years building planetariums in various countries and had a vision to, and was so passionate about the format, he wanted to bring the energy and the beauty of the planetariums into arts and culture as well. So he had a vision to create a company called Vortex. And so he moved to Los Angeles, set up shop, and we ran a dome studio, a 50-foot dome theater on a studio lot in downtown LA for 10 years and used it as an R&D lab for artists in residence, as well as a studio production space and a public presentation space. And all the many wonderful things that you can do in a dome happened there for us. And so that's a little bit about my background, and I currently produce 2 shows in association with James Hood of Mood Swings, along with Vortex and Poseidon. We 3 companies came together to produce and distribute 2 shows into the planetarium space. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Kate McCallum, everyone. Maybe a round of applause for Kate McCallum. And also I would like the technician, we can see the slides maybe so people get also a visual idea of what these guys are talking about. There should be they send in some beautiful slides of their work, so we want to see them. I don't know if maybe we can check the slide. There they are. There is, I think that's yours, right? Absolutely. Ruth Colson, please introduce us to your work.
Hi everyone, it's great being in here. I'm an independent consultant. I'm based in the UK. I've been working in the FullDome industry for around 15 years now and started my career at the National Space Centre, NSC Creative, and discovered the dome and immediately got hooked. I sit on a couple of boards, Immerser and IPS, on their international trade membership panel, and really love what I do within the dome environment. So as an independent consultant, I work with different companies and artists, as well as software, which I'll touch on later. And one of the great shows and companies I've been working with is Moonraker Visual Effects. And this is and I've been guiding them through their journey into their first FullDome show, which hopefully you saw yesterday, and also working with them on other immersive formats, such as flying theatres. I also work with artists. Hopefully you've saw the show this afternoon with Joshua, Sounds of the Ocean. I'm helping Sounds of the Ocean with distribution, the live performances as well, and also looking at touring around different parts of the world, bringing the great messages to everybody. Software, I did a presentation yesterday. I brought to market some software. It's really important to me to get as many people working within the FullDome environment that I love. So this was developed for artists to help them, that those that don't have a dome can actually work and see their content and be part of this great community. And then also I work with venues. I help them with market research, looking at programming, and also guide them on sensory content and any other content that they create themselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Who's one? And I think next up is Maxi, right? So hopefully you also have her visuals present. Maybe you just click. Yes, there it is. That's familiar. I know that one.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm Maxi, yes, and I have a background in classical filmmaking, but I was always interested in also working with space and breaking out of the frame. And so I ended up studying the Masters in Immersive Media here at Bauhaus University. I'm still a student, just about to finish actually.
Pretty soon.
Yes. And here I learned that you can do FullDome films and that you can break out of the frame. And I immediately got excited about this and hooked and never left the FullDome since then. What you see in the picture is an impression of the first piece I did in 2019. That was a 2D animation together with a live performance with an interactive light costume. And we also had an interactive stage design. And I really was just playing around with all the possibilities that the FullDome gives an artist or a creator. I then moved to Sweden for a year and was working at the Visualization Center, where it's a science museum, where they have an in-house FullDome production, and they do mostly science communication. And during the time there, another FullDome project also came up. Corbett Wall, another FullDome enthusiast from Taiwan, reached out and wanted to produce a FullDome film telling an indigenous legend of an indigenous tribe in Taiwan that he just stumbled across, more or less. So for the last 6 months, I was working with him and a very talented artist from Taiwan on The Little Warrior, which premiered on Thursday, couple of days ago here at the JANUS festival.
We're really happy and proud to have you for that premiere. That was really something spectacular. For those of you who witnessed, you know what I'm talking about. It was really quite something.
Very much. Also for me personally, quite a journey to making this international collaboration work and getting to know them and their stories and bringing all of this to the Dome. And another project I've been working on that first came up while I was working in Sweden at the Visualization Center is dancing data. This is a concept that I have developed for feature film FullDome. And during the last couple of months as a master thesis, now being based back in Germany, I've produced a teaser, like a pilot, of this feature-length concept. It is now 5 minutes, giving a glimpse into what I imagine this to be. And dancing data is all about how we can better communicate AI, finding imagery that really makes it more tangible for everybody and is more diverse than what you would find when you do a Google search today. And I'm really interested there in how we can use characters in the Dome and how we can use character-driven stories for science communication. And let's see where the FullDome journey goes on.
Yes, I'm looking forward to see your journey as well. Maximiliane Nierschel. And I think next up, and I think we need a little clicker thingy. I'm calling it the clicker. I think the microphone, you can have it on this side, but the clicker, I'm going to leave it to, I think, Dennis Rudolph. I think there should be some slides as well, so maybe you just click on exactly the forward button. There you go.
Yes. Okay, I'm
trying to sum up 10 years in 2 minutes now. So
Yeah, that's really tough.
this is 2012. I went to the failed urban development project of California City in an artistic crisis to update Rodin's Gates to Hell. They should be placed at the threshold of Western civilization, which is in California, and they should be open. And the problem was to find the right medium for something which is part of two realities, you know, because it has to be there and not there at the same time. So I came so in 2017, 5 years after me spending the time doing nothing in the desert, they came up with the virtual reality headsets. And I immediately thought, oh, great, you know, finally I will paint this in 3D in the virtual reality. They have a 3D painting program in there. You see your hands and stuff. And so this is basically the virtual reality. It became the other reality, the other side of Das Portal, what I called the project. And then I placed it with an augmented reality GPS-based app in the desert there in this town of California City. And so it was there and not there at the same time, right? You see it on your phone, you can walk around it, and you feel its presence, but at the same time it's not there. And this helped me to overcome my art crisis, because painting in the virtual reality, this new medium, suddenly triggered a lot of urge to bring my digital brush strokes into our reality back, because I cannot live without a physical thing around me in my studio. I would go crazy. And so I started, I continued painting in the virtual reality, and there was there's a kind of neo-Valhalla now above California City, a virtual one. And so I started, these are huge gods based on Greek mythology, and I started painting details of these gods in using really thick paint, you know? So you have to give back the digital brushstroke its body, yeah, when you transport it into our reality. And so they look abstract. Some people think it's abstract because there are details. You know, I can't paint the whole thing. It's huge, these gods. But then if you download my app, and this is an exhibition in Amsterdam, you have the gods come out of the painting. So the painting is the trigger, or it's the binding element between the other reality and our reality. And so these things come, this is the only way, the app only works with the painting. So you have to buy the painting in order to see the digital part. And yes, and so I'm really happy because I've never done a dome, you know, I'm really happy that Mickey invited me so I could come full circle here, because now, yesterday we had the premiere of the virtual reality on the dome, and then everybody performing the ritual of getting the gods to our side with their smartphones, and it was a very fantastic evening. Yeah.
I have to agree, this was really a tremendously amazing evening yesterday. Thanks so much, Dennis Rudolph. And I think next up we have the guy right next to me. I also prepared some slides, Dr. Holger Becker.
Yes, my name is Holger Becker. I'm actually not an artist, I'm a physicist by training.
Okay.
And have been an avid hobby astronomer since something like 45 years.
Wow.
Now, since 2 years, I've been sitting in the German parliament. I'm a member of the Committee for Science, Research and Technology Assessment, as well as on the Digital Committee, which obviously has a lot to do with the topics we're talking about today, or which this whole festival is all about. It's now basically my job to push innovation in the political arena. The challenge we have, you know, Germany is not necessarily a country famous for being early technology adopters. And so it's important from the political side to make a situation where innovation, and of course we're mainly talking from our perspective on technological innovation, but of course that radiates a lot into society and art, of course, and to pave a way for that, to increase social acceptance for that. And of course we're facing dramatic changes, just mention of course all the topics when we talk about generative AI, for example. I mean, that will change society in a with a pace we can't actually even foresee right now. But there are different other technologies which we like to set guide rails to, and that's the job from the politician side. And of course, the combination as a scientist of science and art is something which is always breathtaking. I just think back when I was 13 years old, had just done my first astronomy course and bought myself a telescope, and spent endless warm summer nights, but also very cold summer nights, winter nights behind the eyepiece of a telescope, and then you go back and you watch the stars. And that's not surprising. And the nice thing is I'm now the rapporteur for both space and maritime research, which are two very, very highly immersive surroundings. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Thank you very much. Dr. Holger Becker from the SPD. I think you came to the right place when you're looking for innovation, and we're definitely pushing for that in this festival as well. So really happy to have you here. And I think next up we have Sergei Prokofiev.
Hello, everybody. I'm architect, and our studio experimental work is at the convergence of architecture, urban mobility, and immersive storytelling. We imagine our city as a network of hyper-connected neighborhoods that could be designed as a three-dimensional urban structure, as a sustainable and transformable urban environment, and with the focus on the human needs and not on mobility machines. As our studio team find inspiration in the movement to design a physical space, the main focus of my work is exploration architectural communication tool through immersive video. In my, I have different experimental films that was awarded in some in FullDome festival around the world, and here the synthesis of sound with the virtual architectural space was the main mode of immersion. In our studio, we're using 2.5-meter projection dome as a tool for architectural design and for interaction with the space. But at the same time, through the collaboration with the neuroscience, we want to understand better our perception of space. Now we can design our city with a profound focus on the human perspective. And even more, we can showcase our project in different human perspectives that bring kind of gamification process into design. And we started our collaboration project with the neuroscience, with a team from Charité, and we aim to understand what is human behavior in the city, what our perception of the space. And our project was, as a part of Science Week, was invited to participate in the Berlin Science Week immersive, it's called Einstein in the Dome. It was a kind of example of science communication, how it could be in a planetarium. And it was a great response from auditorium and from in social media that highlighted significant interest of audience into science communication and scientific immersive storytelling. Thank you.
Sergei Prokofiev. He also won a JANUS award, do I recall correctly? Last year you won an award as well in the JANUS ceremony, right?
Yes, I think it was not. It was Best of Earth.
Ah, yes, exactly, the Best of Earth. Yes. So award-winning filmmakers here on stage. So thank you very much for the introduction of the panelists. And as you can see, there is like a tremendous amount of expertise on the stage from different angles, different ideas, different maybe also standpoints. But for the beginning, I think I want to start with something quite easy or simple, which would be to ask the question, what is that spatial feeling? And I want to open the round with a question for Dr. Becker. Can you describe a moment for us when you felt really immersed?
Yeah, I mean, when you ask a question like that, one experience immediately comes into my mind. That was my first scuba dive. That was some like 35 years ago off the coast of Australia. at the Great Barrier Reef. And I had never been scuba diving before. You know, everyone just snorkeling or so, but really going down 10 meters, and then you are really immersed.
Literally,
and
yes.
And a lot of your sensory perceptions change. You lose the sense of gravity. You're floating. Your sound, your hearing becomes different because you hear yourself breathing, basically. Which, if you do snorkeling, you don't. And then, of course, you have 360 degrees around 4 pi vision of water around you, with views and with light, which you normally do not have. And that was a very, very meditative moment. And then I started to think twice after you asked that question. The other immersive moment was my first parachute jump. Okay. And that was just the opposite.
Guy here.
That was just the opposite. While, you know, this scuba diving was meditative, skydiving is, I mean, you know, adrenaline is you know, pouring out of every pore of your body. I mean, it's a terrifying. I mean, it's really totally terrifying. But at the same time, when you're falling out of that plane, yeah, that's also truly immersive, but in a very, very different way.
I bet so. That sounds really immersive. I think that sums up the immersive experience perfectly. I couldn't have said it better myself. And I think this is also what we can experience here in the Dome, exactly those feelings, feeling connected to a different environment and feeling totally encapsulated by something that is also, yeah, just different and makes you feel things that you wouldn't feel in the normal world. And yeah, I think another question I have would be for Kate. What do you think, what is the greatest strength of the Dome, in your opinion?
I would say I also was thinking that because I jumped out of a plane too.
Oh, really?
When I was in my 20s. And I was thinking that was probably such an profound immersive experience too, so I agree with you. I would say there's to me there's like 2 different concepts that come to mind for me. One is that you're in a space, a shared audience space, and what was the question again?
What would be the greatest strength of the Dome, in your opinion? And I think you already stated something like that during your FRAMELESS Forum talk, really brilliantly.
Sorry. So, yes, in that you have a shared experience of a beat in a story world.
Yes.
You know, it's like you're, you know, where before in flat screen traditional storytelling, you're looking through a window, you know, or you're looking at a flat framed element. But when you're in the Dome, you are in the story world, and you can share it with an audience.
You're part of it. Yeah.
And similar in a cinema space, you know, but you're still just kind of looking at a window, you know. So it's really truly funny enough. When we first got our Dome, we were, you know, in the theater getting it tweaked and getting the projection aligned and all that, and we were watching hours and hours of content. And I would lay on the couch, because we had couches in the Dome, and just look up and watch these different types of content. And then I was going for a walk at the beach shortly after a day of being in the Dome, and I had this flash like, oh my God, I'm in the Dome at the beach.
Wow.
You know, so it's like we're in reality, because this is the reality that we exist in, is that we have this perspective. So it's like a portal of being in reality where anything can happen.
Exactly, and you can change reality to how you want it to look like. Yeah, that's the power of the Dome, I would say. There is a momentum of awe to it whenever I come into the Dome personally. I always, whenever I come back into this planetarium, for example, I always feel like home, and I connect this to this really strong feeling of awe also, just being in awe of something that is so beautiful, powerful, but yet also so real and so, like, every day, basically, and finding the beauty in the everyday. Yes, so Sergey, I have a question for you, because I was wondering, what are the topics that you are most interested in when it comes to producing for the Dome? What is also your passion behind the projects you have? What is your, so to speak, agenda with also your work?
Thanks for the question. Yeah, I'm an architect, yeah, and first time when I see my project in a dome was very impressive for me. For example, in conventional design, where architects in dealing with the plan, drawing, section, elevation, we have objectively understandable idea about layout of the building. But when we switch to the street or in a normal life situation, we switch to another perception of space. And dome help us to simulate this movement, to simulate behavior in a built environment and quickly change and adapt our design. And my passion is to explore how human emotion can shape the space through the moment.
That is quite something. That sounds exactly like what I experienced when I saw your work first, because of the architecture that was like flying around us, that was just unfolding. Yeah, it was really brilliant work. And I was wondering a little bit about also the question of what is the difference between dome and cinema, and Kate, you already touched on that a little bit. I wanted to ask Maxi, because you also said you have a background also, first of all, in TV and film production, and I was wondering if you have an opinion about, I don't know, what is the difference between working for the dome and working for flat surface media?
Yeah, actually, I think there's quite a lot that you have to think differently.
Yeah.
All these traditional editing techniques that you learn for the frame, they just have a totally different effect on the dome, and the peripheral view just gives you so much more tools that you don't have for the traditional film production. At the same time, there are a lot of technical challenges. It's a totally different workflow, and also the amount of resources is really very different. For regular filmmaking, you Google and you find all the answers. For FullDome, not necessarily. You have to do a lot yourself and find out yourself how to do it. And I think one thing also is that there are not so many FullDomes, and accessing them, especially as a student, is really hard. So a lot of, I mean, the projects I've done so far were a lot of, I guess this is cool in the dome, but I don't know until I see it there, until it's done. And a regular film I can preview on my laptop and I get a pretty good picture, but for the dome I really need the facility, and access to the facility is not as easy.
Yeah.
So there's a whole list of challenges for FullDome, but I think it's exciting, and yeah, I don't want to go back.
Very good, that's what I wanted to hear. Maxi is also one of my former students, and I'm really happy and proud to have you in this panel today. So, I don't know, I think that deserves an applause as well, because her journey is quite tremendous. She, as you perfectly showed, she had like this 2D animation first, and now you're producing those big things with those big like performance theater group from Taiwan. It's just like, it's really nice for me to see that you're going this way and that you're continuing with this medium, because I think also it's not for everyone. I think sometimes people, they seem like, ah, yeah, that's a new trendy thing, immersive, yeah, sounds cool, I want to do that, and then they hop off the wagon pretty fast if they don't go through all the torment that you were talking about. And I can totally see the point of not having access to a dome for us and the students. I mean, you know that. It's really, we are really blessed to have this planetarium as a sort of test dome, and we're really happy and thankful to the Zeiss Planetarium for always letting us showcase our work here and test that. And yeah, that's something that is, not everybody has it, and that leads me back to Ruth, because you have this wonderful software, Festoon, where you make the dome accessible basically for everyone, if I'm not mistaken, right? Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and like most software, it comes from a problem and a solution. I work on the business side within film development and distribution. And it was always, even though when I was working, we had a dome at the Science Center, we had to work around the audience and the visitors. So we either got it in at 6 in the morning or 7 at night when we weren't at our best. And so reviewing and looking at content, especially new artists that came to work within the FullDome, to explain them out of the 16:9 into working within a circle was really important. And it was important to me as well to engage as many people into this amazing format. And there was no software or any solution on the market. My background, I do a lot of funding, so I put together a small team and managed to get some funding for R&D work from Innovate UK, their Audience of the Future Award, and managed to bring to market some software that allows you to review and share your content, with clients in other parts of the world. It doesn't take away from still coming into a dome, but it really helps you scale, speed, size, all the things that you probably came across when you were doing FullDome production. So it was really important to make that accessible and bring that to market. And it was great that during COVID, we managed to release it when everybody needed it. And, Miracle were one of the first team to use it from start to finish on their production, and we're working with Weimar University. Their animation students are using it, and it was great to have their feedback.
Well, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to use Festoon. It's really an amazing software, and I'm not sure, I think, Maxi, when you were still a student, I think it wasn't there yet, and now our students can try it, and it is a game changer because it also allows for us as teachers to give proper feedback, and also for more collaboration, obviously, also for people that live remotely. So this is really a great software that I think changed a lot of how we can produce for the Dome. Yeah, maybe it gets a bit too, I don't know, techy, but I think that's, yeah, it's really something to look into. And Moonraker FX, I mean, the moon-based film is just really stunning. And I think we can see the results of this work, and it really paid off. I was wondering, in general, I have this feeling of, as I already said, immersive media is a buzzword, right? We can agree on that, I think. Or I don't know, maybe somebody would detest and say, no, that's not the case. I would say, yes, it's a buzzword and everybody keeps on using it, and you put immersive on it and then all of a sudden it's fancy and everybody wants to see it. And I was wondering, and this is a question for the whole panel, and whoever wants to answer this question, just grab the mic and answer the question. What do you see, or where do you see the biggest challenge of this widespread adoption of immersive media also? It's a bit of a critical question, I know that, but I want to, trigger something maybe. Kate.
Well, I think, that the challenge is the chicken and egg situation, because to build a dome theater is an expensive endeavor.
It is.
And fortunately, the pop-up domes are a less expensive alternative. And they come in a whole variety of sizes. The one that you had in your, that's a nice little starter size to work with in studio production. And then, you can purchase domes for schools and communities at a more reasonable fee, cost. But to really kind of expand the format is going to take a network of dome theaters to be built. And they'll probably, I believe, in my slide I had pictures of the new MSG Dome, which is opening in February, which is a 17,000 seat spherical theater in Las Vegas. And so that's kind of, to me, the proof that there's a incredible interest in this format. And when that opens, and hopefully when it's successful, we're all praying that it's is incredibly successful, investors will open their eyes and see that this is a very exciting format. And so there'll be more money available to start building theaters that are especially designed for multimedia performance as well, because most of the planetariums are built as a cinema space, as we can see here too. And they're not really designed for live performance and cinema. And so the cine theater, to me, is a new art form. encased in these beautiful theaters that will
Cine
be
theater,
evolving.
that's a really interesting term. Maybe you want to elaborate on that a little bit. That's a term I heard first from you, and I was really drawn to. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit. What is a cine theater,
Well,
for those of you who don't know?
Yeah, I mean, I would just, from my background, because I worked in film and television, and then when I met Ed, and Ed introduced me to the domes, and I absolutely fell in love with both the domes and Ed.
That's a story.
but it was kind of like, okay, we're in this space, and here's an incredible cinema screen, but then we had all these artists come to us, and they wanted to do ballet and musicals and opera and performance art and theater, and we were like, oh, this is a cine theater. This is really, the best of both worlds, and what can happen in these spaces is so exciting. And so that, to me, is why the term cine theater.
Makes sense.
So.
Yes, really. Any responses to that from any of the other panelists?
I would actually like to respond to your first question of, I mean, we indeed see a big hype of immersive arts at the moment. I mean, especially, with these art shows on Klimt and so on. I think as with many other new media forms, it's important to have high quality content.
Exactly.
And
that's why the FullDome Festival exists.
We've seen that. I mean, for example, with 3D movies, I mean, it had a huge hype after the first Avatar movie, which was, of course, made for that 3D. Or it of course, had a lot of its appeal in these 3D effects. But then that hype died down pretty quickly because lots of other quote-unquote 3D movies came out which did not, let's say, make full use of the potentials. And so I think it would be really, really important to make sure that the quality stays up in the content. And I have another challenge, actually, because indeed, there are not too many locations where you have reasonably sized domes. On the other hand, I mean, it's a simple mathematical transformation of, 3D data in a dome to a. I mean, you could do a simple mathematical transformation of that projection onto a rectangular room. It's a mathematical transformation. So I'm wondering if there's any software which can do that, because I mean, obviously there are many, many more square room or rectangular rooms available in the world for all kinds of arts, which could be also used for in this case, full box projection. And it's all you need is a software which does that mathematical transformation.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't really understand why you're so stuck on the dome. I mean, in the near future, we have like contact lenses that just project everything in AR, so you don't need to build a network of domes or something. Which then, on the other hand, I wonder there must be a reason you're so stuck to this dome. Like you call yourself a family, and it's it's like a cult. Yep. And so I wonder.
Feels a bit like it.
I was wondering if it's maybe because of this thing in the center here, which is actually very annoying because you can never see the screen really, but it must be really important. Otherwise, you would have got rid of it, right? So it's made to see the stars really accurate. Yeah. So there are pinholes so you can never make it that sharp, right, in projection. And so I wonder if. So I think if the things you have in here are in somewhat connected to the history of the dome, of the place, it can become something which makes sense to have it in this particular place. And so I really liked, there was a movie about black holes yesterday, for instance, and I loved it. It made totally sense here, and then it had also, it touched upon the borders of science, you know, so it's kind of touches on religion even, and so there's a spiritual energy in here that could maybe lead to some, like to make you keep this place, because otherwise I think it will, like, people, I don't know, it will get rid of it.
Yes, I don't know if there's anybody else in the panel that wants to respond. Maxi.
To your question initially, I mean, it does connect to that, but what I wanted to mention in this context also is, as a creator, a big challenge is that every dome has this super different configuration, and you can only create something for one specific facility, and once you move to another city, your piece comes out totally different, and that's, I think, a big hurdle still to make this really spread the world, because we really have a hard time doing something that works in many places.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. There's still some gaps to bridge. That makes sense, right? Yeah. In that sense, I think, and I think I want to come back to what you were saying about this sort of maybe transcendental feeling inside the dome sometimes, because I also said in the beginning, why am I so drawn to the dome, for example? I've been working here and with my colleagues since 7 years now, and I sometimes keep wondering myself, why do I always keep coming back to this place? I cannot answer this question to you fully, to be honest. And I'm not sure if it has to do something with the star projector, I'm not sure. But I think it's about the communal aspect of the dome, for me at least. And that is also something that I heard from you, Maxi, during your Frameless Forum talk, that the film community and the dome community, it's totally different in a way. And I think it is a unique community so far, because it is still a small one, and it's now about to expand. That's why I asked this sort of question that is maybe a bit irritating in the beginning for some people. What do we have to think about when we open up this immersive experience to the whole world, and what else is there to come, like, for example, mixed reality or AR? Of course, we shouldn't be glued to the dome, and I think expanding the dome also means to let especially those things in, like we did yesterday evening, for example, with the AR ritual, I would call it. And I think there is tremendous power in that, like to bring together all of that. And for me, the dome is the starting point of immersive media, and let's see where it goes. But I think that's the feeling, at least that I get from all of the community in the dome, that it's like a thing that is expanding. And yeah, I'm just rambling on. I think I should ask another question, I guess. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I think what's really interesting is if you look at commercial film, you have media franchises that open theaters, they're all spec similar, and you have a network that you can plug a movie into and it can go all over. With these, the planetariums were born in science. They were born for science, to investigate the universe, and these beautiful technological tools that were able to show us the skies and the night sky. So where the legacy of these facilities is so beautiful, and it almost seems like, if we get a little woo-woo here, in the spiritual sense, it was almost like, because it's such a powerful format, it was in a way protected, because it came to the planetariums first. Can you imagine if we, had these theaters and we were watching the thrillers and the, all the violence, and I mean, right? So, I know. So, so it's almost like it's been safely given to humanity in this way, and then these theaters, the planetariums, are like the community theaters, the big opera houses and the theaters for drama. They're unique to each city. And so the planetariums, in a way, are similar, again, to the theaters, the cine theater concept, and they can be treated so beautifully for the communities that they exist in. And so they're unique in how they can program, how they can showcase work. And then, I'm sure that as we evolve the format and it popularizes, you're going to have the franchises of, like COSM is now opening venues, and, MSG, and those will be more commercially similar in their technical specs, but these beautiful theaters that already exist can be evolved for the community and the local talent, and then talent from around the world can also come into these theaters, like the Taiwanese and the other artists that have been showing here during the festival. So it's such a beautiful legacy space. That's what I would say on the positive side of the coin.
Yeah. Can I just?
Sure. Ruth.
I'd like to just add to that. You know, to me, one of the challenges is educating the owners of the planetariums and the domes to realize and to come to festivals like this to realize the full potential and the great work that's created, and to see they can attract different audiences, they can inspire people into centres that have never been here. And you know, that's part of my passion, is to share the, you know, the work of artists and work for everyone around the world, and to try something different and to convey all these really important messages as well, and to hear the stories that we've all seen over the last few days and share them. And you know, I've seen so much beautiful content that's given me goosebumps and inspired me. And you know, I really think that we have a job here, you know, to educate and to share what we're doing on a worldwide level.
Definitely, yes. The Dome is a cultural space for everyone. It's an inclusive space. That's how I experience it. And that's why it's sort of also could be the museum of the future, if we expand it also with other realities. Really beautifully said also, Ruth. I totally have to agree. I feel the same. I feel like the festival has brought a lot of tremendous work to the table that was done by so many great producers that sit here in the audience. And it's always just such a pleasure to celebrate with them their creations and to see where they take us and in what kind of worlds we get immersed in and what are the topics that are relevant. And that maybe leads me to another question, because in the festival I see that there is more and more topics like, for example, it's about climate change or social injustice, or so many political also topics in the Dome, which is something that I have not experienced 7 years ago. And I'm really happy to see that happening in the Dome. It's becoming this cultural and sort of political and definitely social space. And yeah, I was wondering something that is in my notes. I was wondering where the panelists would see the potential here also for the Dome and also for other immersive art forms when it comes to social questions, how we convey messages, for example. What is the potential of the Dome or VR, AR, whatever, that maybe a TV or radio does not have? Maybe if any of the panelists.
Yeah, I think this shouldn't be a topic for the Dome at all. It shouldn't be political or social. I think it's like you said, it's a cultural place, but actually it's a scientific place, like also, the origin. But so you want to turn it into a cultural place now. So I think it would be great if this would be a liaison between scientific and cultural in a way, like if you can merge them, but then politics, that it's like of no interest, or social problems shouldn't be discussed in a temple or something, you know. It's like it's beyond, you know. It goes to the stars, or so, you know, so to say. So I think it would be a hindrance to free thinking, you know, in this place. If you have a certain topic that narrows down this medium, which has great potential, if you narrow it down to transform a message, you know.
I don't know if there's any responses from the panel.
Sorry. In addition to the work that I do in the FullDome and production, we also, myself and a group of artists in Los Angeles, created a nonprofit called the Center for Conscious Creativity. And our whole mission is to use the power of arts, media, and storytelling to help evolve humanity and evolve consciousness. Now, that is a very broad statement, and intentionally so, because that can be done in so many unique ways. And I think art and storytelling is such an incredibly powerful tool for getting messages out. It doesn't have to be literal in your face. It doesn't have to be the news. It can be a beautiful art piece. Like, I found your art piece incredibly transformational. And so I think that social impact, for my own personal, it's subjective, but we, as a board member of the Producers Guild of America, we also started the Social Impact Entertainment Task Force to bring awareness to social issues which are so critical today, including like the Ocean Story and some of the other films that have been screened during the festival. And I think that we as media makers and creatives and storytellers almost have a duty to bring forth beauty, solutions, ideas, new ways of thinking about some of these extraordinary issues that we're facing as humanity today. Because of our media, we are aware of it, you know, so that's my personal perspective on it, and I think it can be done through edutainment. You know, it doesn't have to be hard in your face. It can be done subtly. It can be done as an afterthought. You can have a beautiful story and then bring in an NGO or a nonprofit in as a partner to offer an audience up additional ways to act upon the topics that were treated more perhaps narratively or artistically in a concept or a show. So I'm on the other side of the fence on that.
Advocating for the dome. I wouldn't have guessed that this would get so intense today, you guys. But I really like it because for me, especially those topics, I talk about with my friends all the time. So that's exactly what we're asking ourselves too. Why is the dome like this, and where does it come from, and where does it go? But I also want to open up the panel a little bit again to another topic of mine, which is bringing in new creators, bringing in new talent. And I wanted to ask the panel if you, or yeah, what is your take on that? What is your, where do you see maybe little doors where new talent could enter? Like, let's say, for example, there is a person here in the audience that is a student and sees this for the first time and is in awe of it, like I am, and feels like, oh, I want to contribute something to the immersive realm. I want to contribute, and I maybe want to make also a living out of that at some point. Where do you see an entry space for new talent in immersive media?
I think I just make a little advertisement. That's our studio always open for any artist.
Please.
And for people who are interested and passionate about FullDome production. And also we open, or sometimes we'll open position for internship or from 3 to 6 months for students who really want to join and create something together. Yeah, just write us a mail and we open.
Can you can you say the name again?
Our studio.
Our studio?
Our studio called Studio Svitala.
Okay, that's what I wanted you to say. Studio Svitala.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I can leave contact and or you can find us in social media, and we always looking for young people.
Okay. Okay.
I don't mean to talk so much, but I believe that universities need to really support immersive media programs and curriculum. Your university is very blessed with you and Mickey and Kate to have a department, and Mohammed, yes, definitely. And in addition to the science centers, many planetariums are at universities, so they're already built in. They just need to start collaborating with the theater department and the film department and the dance department and synthesize the offerings and the support. But education is critical for young people in this field and adults in transition that want to move from traditional filmmaking into spherical filmmaking. And there needs to be that kind of push into the academic world to get these programs instituted. So at our theater, we hosted CalArts, which is a very famous animation school in Los Angeles. We hosted them into our theater for 3 semesters of 101 Dome education, and then the students were able to come on the closing night to showcase their work to the public. And that's a fantastic model as well. So anyway, I'm just a big believer that universities need to seriously look at getting immersive media programs in their curriculum. So.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I am a teacher in immersive media, of course, I have to agree to that. But yeah, I think it's important to push for that also in the educational realm, and then see where it goes from there, see where the new talent takes us. Could be also outside of the dome, who knows. I have another, or is there any other response?
Yeah, I just want to add a couple of other ways that people can sort of engage and share. There's a couple of trade associations I mentioned at the beginning. One's Immersa. They're based in the US, but they're an international organization that have been running events and also have an online directory and videos of everything FullDome, immersive VR, AR, I would really encourage you to look them up. The other event that's coming to Germany next year is IPS, which is the International Planetarium Society Conference. And that is a meeting of 700 people all around the world. They'll have a dome village, they'll have content, they'll have papers, they'll have workshops, and they especially encourage students into the space and make it very affordable to attend. And I think that's great. You'll meet people that do hardware, that do everything within the dome. And I think, as most of us have found, it's a very friendly family and people want to encourage and share.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Ruth. I think that's also another thing that with the inclusion in the dome, that is really, yeah, that's something that's important, and that we share it, this space. Thanks. I'm wondering, where would I take this conversation from here? I don't know if there's any other responses from any of the panelists.
I have a question for Maxi. Because I was always wondering when I saw all these movies, and I was wondering what is the additional, like, what's the difference like of the story you can tell in Dome to if it's just on a on a screen?
I think you can tell every story in both mediums. Maybe one story is more suited to the Dome and the other more to the 16:9 frame. It's more about how you tell the story and what you want the focus to be on. And I think what's coming additionally in the Dome is that you can address more senses while you keep the shared experience that you could also have in a regular cinema. But here you have a sense of space, you have a sense of being somewhere else. You can give the audience more the feeling of being an active part of what you see, I think. So it has a kind of a different effect on the people. And if you achieve to use all these possibilities, you can, I think, create you can create emotion in the audience in another way, and maybe more intense than in a traditional film. But of course, both mediums has their, I mean, we need both, and it's just as we need books and films, we also need FullDome, I think.
Yeah. Very well said, Maxi. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. I don't know if there's any other.
Maybe the audience wants to have.
Oh yeah, the audience. Maybe there's some. I totally forgot about the audience with all the intensity here. I totally forgot about you guys. I'm sorry, I was zoned out a little. So there are questions, I guess. So we open it up to the audience.
Yes, we have one question here.
Hello, some people may know me, Sascha Kriegel,
Hi,
currently
Sascha.
Planetarium Hamburg.
Hi.
And I just want, I was not sure where that panel is going to, but there were many things said which I feel I have to give an answer or a reply. So
do.
let me please quickly try to remember what was said first. Sorry, I forgot the name of the politician. You were talking
Dr.
about
Holger Becker.
Dr. Holger Becker. Holger? Ja, Genosse Holger. Boden sind alle Genossen. Sie hatten die Frage, you had a question, sorry, English, yeah. Or you said it's all mathematical, and then, yeah, it's just that. And all the time I was thinking, hey, it's 2023. And again, at this festival, like all the years, sometimes I feel like it's 2005 and people experience everything for the first time and, oh, look, there's a nice colors code plug-in. I can use that every time. I have no idea what to show. It's 2023. All the technology that was told is missing is there for years. And I see stumbling students doing the same mistakes year by year, obviously unaware, the solutions are already there. So if you're looking for transformation of FullDome images to other stuff, it's called projection mapping. You use DaVinci Resolve Studio, you grab Carta VR, which is free, and then you transform any format from glasses to equirectangular to cube map. The technology is there. Do your homework, check the internet, look for the technology. Everything is there. I still can't believe that we are still struggling with technology and having not perfect results because people struggle with technology. So there are great artists, and every year they seem to reinvent the wheel. So technology-wise, everything is there. Just go out, check it, and I don't want to sound arrogant or complaining, so I promise you, Karen knows, I announced at Immerser there were technical issues. There will be help for it. I'm doing something which will be free and helping with that to avoid having especially freelance producers and young students struggling with simple technical things. They should not care about technical things. So there will be ways together with Dario from FDDB and Immerser also, we will offer some help for that. But I really get annoyed when I hear people struggling with simple things which are solved for years. The other thing was, you said the dome is something like the starting point of multimedia. I see it completely different. When I started like 20 years ago, no, not really 20, like 15 years ago, the first time I realized a digital FullDome. I was thinking the opposite. I was thinking, wow, I was seeing it, and this is the accumulation point. All the different media comes together here. It would be totally wrong in my eyes to say, for example, AR starts in the dome. It's a starting, but no, it's not. But the dome, the good thing about the dome is all the different kinds of media, they accumulate here, they come together. The dome gives a common place to have single technology, getting it out of its niche and collect it and make it group experience. So I would prefer to say it's accumulation point, not a starting point.
It definitely is, Sasha. Yeah, thank you so much for that contribution.
This is something which I've had, because I had really, that was my first thought. The first time I was in a dome, I was thinking, oh, this is multimedia. This is 2D, 3D storytelling, sound, music,
and I guess you understood what I said wrong, because for me it was the starting point.
So this is why I point out, for me it's the opposite.
Yeah, okay.
I don't tell.
For me personally,
it's
it was
wrong
the starting point. Yeah, for some things. But
and I also have to say what Dennis said. I totally see it like that. Yeah, that we should not try to turn the dome into the museum based on what I just said. Yeah. The dome can also be a museum. It can host parts of it, yeah. But every single technology, like he really demonstrated in a great way yesterday, has its own platform, yeah. And the dome is a place where all those platforms can be together. But we should never think that the dome will, in the future, will replace all the other platforms. Yeah?
No,
so this
I guess nobody's thinking that here.
Yeah. So, and there were many more things, but I talked enough. I just wanted to let you know that and open the discussion.
Okay, so it wasn't really a question, but more like a discussion. I don't know if there's anybody that wants to respond.
Yeah, I would indeed make a comment to your first comment that people reinvent the wheel all the time, and that there is a gap between, call it the content creating community and the tech community. Because that's something we see in lots and lots and lots of areas as well. We see that in the life sciences, where the biologists have no idea what technical tools are available, say for genomics or so. We see that in the medical field, where practitioners have no idea what's happening in the medical device community, and so on. And that's something very, very typical, especially when the speed of technological development becomes larger than the typical educational life cycle. Because people who are practicing something typically have learned that at school, at university, a couple of years ago. And they typically do, I mean, once you're, let's say, a licensed practitioner of whatever profession, you typically do not come back to university, but you do that on and on and on. And so, in the 21st century, where the typical technological life cycles are much faster than these educational life cycles, then we start to see that disengagement, or that gap between what's available on the technological side and what is done by new students or by practitioners, because they have no idea what's out there in the latest technological developments. And I think that's why it's so important, and that would be my, and I mean, we obviously have already some kind of professional bodies or organizations for the FullDome to make people aware, make students aware of what's out there on the technological side. I think that's one of the most important tasks for any kind of professional body, to bridge that gap, to make people aware of what actually is available on the technological side in order to basically unleash the full power of what's out there on the technological side, because very often the people who do develop the technologies are not the ones who really are the call it end users or the artists making use of these technologies. And bridging that gap is really, really a big task, because we see that happening in so many other communities as well.
Yeah, that's really true. And I think that's exactly what we try to do at the festival too, to bridge this gap. For example, with our Frameless Forum talks that usually happen in the morning, we have panelists there that talk about what it is they just invented that could be a good thing for example, students, so they don't have to reinvent the wheel. So yes, the Frameless Forum is sort of, the time is already, oh my God, this went by way too fast. We just got started, didn't we? I'm so sorry. Okay, this panel was a bit of a mess, and maybe that's my fault. But I was I'm really thankful for all of the contributions that we had. And I think the discussion went in a direction that I personally find really interesting, because it is something that we have to ask ourselves, why do we do the things we do, right? And what worth is there in it? And why do we need this technology? It consumes energy, right? And it is, you have to see it in the big picture. So it has to be worthy. And so we have to ask those questions. And I guess I'm still gonna end this panel with hopefully a little bit of a round of more funny questions that I'm gonna ask. I would like to ask Holger Becker. Holger Becker, where are you? Somewhere in my notes, a bit of a mess. I was wondering, if you think about the Dome and what you experienced today and the FullDome Festival, what kind of animal would the festival be? And you have to answer real quickly. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Well, I mean, when I think about spherical coordinates, I mean, a porcupine comes into mind pretty quickly.
I like that. That sounds awesome. That's a really good one. Porcupine with the sparks, and it sparks out. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna do another round of. It's gonna be like a quick answer. So I'm gonna ask a question, and then you have to answer in one sentence or word. And I would have a question for Sergey. If you had to create a FullDome show based on a song, which song would you choose?
I'll try to take a composition of Sergei Prokofiev music.
Oh, obviously you would.
A joke.
Very good answer. And then I have a question, I guess, for Dennis. If you would describe the festival only with emojis, what kind of emojis would you use? Rapid fire, so quick answers, please.
There is no emoji for this, I think.
There is no emoji for this. Okay, wow. There's plenty emojis. I don't know, Maxi, what emojis would you use?
I think it would be the one that has eyes as like stars, like
Yeah,
being
the star
excited
one.
and overwhelmed and tired and
yeah.
excited again all at the
Yes.
same time.
That makes sense. I would pick that one too.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got one. It's the magic ball emoji.
The magic ball, obviously, yes. Magic ball and starry eye. Those are the ones that I always use when I, for example, text to my mom that I'm working in the Dome today. I'm like, this and the starry eye. So you chose the same ones I would choose. And then I have a question for Kate. Would you rather attend a FullDome show with aliens or with dinosaurs, and why?
Aliens for sure. It happens all the time anyway. So we're
So that's
always
why.
attending with aliens.
Okay, valid answer. Whom did I ask a question yet? Ruth. Ruth, what kind of question do I have for you? If you could make a FullDome show with any sort of celebrity, which celebrity would you choose, and why?
Oh my goodness, that's a really tough one.
so hard to choose from, right? Like, which one?
I'm not really into celebrities that much.
Okay, maybe
I
then-
like if I like music, and this is not going to be anybody's taste, but I love Morrissey. I'll do
Morrissey,
something
okay.
with Morrissey.
Some fans in the audience. Yeah, I guess. Which emoji would you use, Herr Dr. Holger Becker? I'm curious about that now.
No, the starry eyes.
The starry eyes, okay. So we're ending with the starry eyes today. Thank you so much for this amazing panel, to have this intense discussion with me today. I have a lot to think about, I think. Maybe you guys have so too, I don't know. And I guess we're ending, but we're also not really ending because there is an award ceremony coming up. And it's gonna not take place inside the dome, but actually outside in front of the dome. And it's gonna start in a few minutes. Or what time is it, Mickey? A few long minutes. So you still have some time to maybe catch some breath, drink some water, get hydrated again, and yeah, enjoy the dome. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Herr Holger Becker, wollen Sie kurz mal, ohne dass das Publikum merkt, das Mikrofon testen?
Wollen wir noch Bescheid geben, dass jetzt alle
Ja.
sich versammeln?
Weil wir sind jetzt an.
Zwei, drei, 1, 2, 3 Test, geht.
Sowas von erfolgreichen Test. Wo sind jetzt unsere Damen geblieben? Eben waren die doch noch da. Ja, weg sind sie. So, wir haben aus dramaturgischen Gründen noch ein bisschen Spannungspuffer eingebaut. Das ist sozusagen Veranstaltungswatte. Da passiert überhaupt nichts, weil die Mikrofone sind schon gecheckt. Der Award-verlesende MdB Dr. Holger Becker ist schon eingetroffen. Er hat auch sein Mikrofon gecheckt. Es funktioniert ausgezeichnet, sozusagen ganz hervorragend. Die Tesla-Coil-Explosionsingenieure sind auch schon bereit. Und die charmanten Assistentinnen, die hier Wesentliches mitzuteilen haben, es sind keine Assistentinnen, es sind Direktorinnen. Ne? Also wir sind hier in einem Direktorat, ein Triumvirat mit dem 4. Mohammed auch irgendwo. Und this is Mohammed. So, first of all, everybody in the world, I understand, Mohammed, the live stream is going into 5 continents. Thank you. So it's not only about us. It's about people like du und ich, but it's also about the millions of people who watch this ceremony of the award announcements of the 17th Jena FullDome Festival. And of course, each year we have a different kind of explosive ritual. And the one with which we want to start our award announcement for the award will now come from Tesla High Labs. Simon is here. He will make sure that Frauen und Kinder in Sicherheit, but maybe you're just going to start and do something that only Tesla coils can do. Thank you. This was the spirit of Nikola Tesla announcing the award announcements of the 17th Jena FullDome Festival. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for showing up. Vielen Dank. Was wir heute machen, ist natürlich so sensationell, dass ich mir extra einen Zettel vorbereitet habe. Wir haben nämlich, wenn ich genau nachgezählt habe, 8 Janus-Skulpturen zu vergeben heute Abend. Es gibt eine große linguistische Diskussion darüber, wie der Plural von Janus lautet. Janüsse, Janii. Niemand ist so richtig ganz sicher, deswegen. Der Lateiner hinter uns, ja, Sie sagen Janii. Wir haben hier 8 Janii versammelt. Jeder zeichnet eine besondere Leistung in der Produktion von FullDome Kunst aus. Und wir haben zum Beispiel Der erste Janus, geht für den besten FullDome Feature-Film. Es gibt den besten FullDome Kurzfilm. Es gibt den besten FullDome Art Experiment Film. Es gibt den besten FullDome Young Talent Award. Dann gibt es die Kategorie Best FullDome Science and Education. Und dann gibt es Best FullDome Innovation and Creativity Award. Und dann gibt es noch den Special Jury Selection. Das sind bisher, wenn ihr mitgezählt habt, 7 Awards. Warum sind da 8 Janii? Weil der 8. Janus ein Sound Award ist, which celebrates the excellent use of audio in the dome. And when I say we have a jury, I see 2 charming young ladies who were part of the jury, and if Kate McCallum and Ruth Colson would just sort of wave their arms so you know, thank you. Thank you for dedicating your time, energy and expertise to assess all these magnificent 37 submissions that we had. Of course, we have a 3rd jury member, Dr. Andreas Schmidt from Zeiss. He doesn't really feel well, but he worked really well, and he worked hard with the 2 ladies on the jury decisions. So he sends greetings and apologizes for not showing up in person. The protocol will be, the diplomatic protocol will be, that soon I'll shut up and leave the microphone to Dr. Holger Becker, who has the list of the award winners. He will read out each award winner individually, and if that award winner happens to be physically present here, they are allowed to come up, pick their Janus, and also pick some wrapping, because these are very fragile, and just be happy to have won a Janus award this year, one of the 8. Also, there is a certificate which will be handed out to you by Kate. Also, there is a very short statement in which the jury describes why they think this film is really exceptional and deserves an award. And if you think that's all, no. There's more. There's another envelope. There's a kind of a, we are awash in envelopes. And this envelope, there are more envelopes. And in each of the additional envelopes, there is an award money. Because, yes, no, folks, isn't this incredible? We couldn't, yes, thank you. For the last 3 years, we weren't able to generate as much financial resources to hand out deserved award-donated prizes for the artists. Now, thanks to the amazing number of people that showed up and paid, we are in the position of giving these award money envelopes. So there's a lot of stuff. There is announcement, there is award statue, there is certificate, and there is money. So if you are one of these winners, be prepared to carry home all these 3 items simultaneously and without freaking out. So that's enough. The weather is fine. And I think, Dr. Holger Becker, would you please unfold your document and say what you have to say?
Yes, after 5 days of amazing art, it gives me great pleasure to announce the winners of this year's JANUS Awards. And we'll start with the winner of the Best FullDome Award. And the JANUS goes to the Best FullDome Undetermined Outcome by Rocco Helmchen and Johannes Kraas.
Gratulation.
Dankeschön.
Gratulation. Mal wieder Rocco.
Können Sie den dafür vorgesehenen Janus in die Hand?
Dann fangen wir von vorne an. Wir fangen von vorne an.
Genau. Und vielen herzlichen Dank. Wollt ihr auch noch den anderen Umschlag mit dem Geld haben? Ja, und ein Foto. Thank you very much. By the way, I think that was the best FullDome short film award, but it was just, yes. But anyway, now the jury has looked at this and decided to give a little sentence in recognition of this work.
Sci art at its best. The creators used excellent imagery and visual art with music to represent poetic concepts of quantum physics, all displayed using exceptional use of the dome format.
That really fills your Janus trophy cabinet at home, deservedly. So, Dr.
All
Holger
right,
Becker,
we come
next.
to the next category in Best Full Dome Feature. And the award goes to Hazelnuts in Search of the Perfect Planet by Stéphane Bertrand, Damien Mogin, 3D Emotion, Mediastro Promotion.
Are we blessed with the presence of the hazelnut creators, the physical presence? And of course, they're watching this through the live stream. There is sort of big applause. Whatever. No hazelnut creators anywhere near? Okay, we'll make sure that the Janus finds its way back to the hazelnut woods. Yes, but we'll ask Kate to read the statements why the jury decided that this film deserves the Best FullDome Feature Award.
Hazelnut, In Search of the Perfect Planet by Stéphane Bertrand, Damien Mogin, 3D Emotion, Mediastro Promotion. This charming and whimsical animated film tells the story of two curious and adventurous squirrels learning about life and astronomy while having fun as they search for hazelnuts on the perfect planet. We found the film beautifully illustrated and highly engaging for children of all ages.
And the next category is Best Full Dome Art and Experiment. And the Janus Award in this category goes to Coup 1755-86 Little Warrior by Tani Vonota, Maximiliane Nirschel, and David Meyer.
I'm the only one left, unfortunately. Thank you.
You are not totally unfortunate in this project.
I'm here for many, many people, actually.
Yes, yes. Come close to the
Oh,
photo
envelope.
and
Thank you.
so.
Thank you. Congratulations. Quite an honor. Thank you so much. They will freak out if I tell them.
They're watching in Taiwan right now, yes. Now listen what the... Kate, das Mikro ein bisschen näher zu dir hin.
So? Yeah. Okay. The jury statement. Myth and legend of the Ku people is brought to life in this beautifully animated story, which preserves their culture and shares their joy, spirit, and traditions through the power of the dome.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Send greetings to Taiwan, to the Q Warriors.
We'll come to the next category, which is Best Full Dome Young Talent. And the Janus Award in this category goes to Phantom Eye by Carlos Hurtado Munera.
Congratulations, also. Congratulations.
Okay. Let's hear what the jury said about this film.
This well-crafted, unique black and white FullDome film transports the audience to the front lines of a historical conflict that took place in Colombia. Using actual footage and stylized imagery along a well-designed soundtrack, this film creates a powerful impact that effectively replicates the eye trauma and suffering of the victims of this violence.
Thank you. Greetings to Darmstadt.
Our next category is entitled Best FullDome Science and Education. And the JANUS Award in this category goes to One Sky by Gauthier Sébastien Gauthier, 360 Productions.
It's a bit sad that Sébastien announced he would come, and shortly before his plane started, he said, "I'm sorry, I cannot come." So it's yeah, he was almost there. So Sébastien, if you see this, is this the camera, Mohamed? Yeah, Sébastien, welcome, gratulation, as they say in Quebec, and we'll send this JANUS to you with certificate and yeah, probably €200.
Yeah.
Good. But the jury.
Told through episodic storytelling, this film recognizes the diversity of international cultures and communities and their unified common mission of exploring the stars on the one sky.
And our next category is Best FullDome Innovation and Creativity. And the winner of this award is Future Ruhr by, by Sophia Melino, Future Campus Ruhr NGO.
Yeah? Okay. Using unique effects incorporated into real footage, this film utilizes the medium of the dome format to create a surreal yet powerful representation of the stark reality of contemporary industrial landscape.
So all the award winners who hold in their trembling hands these precious JANUS statues, please be aware that we have padded material to make sure you don't crush it or kind of smash it against your champagne bottles or whatever. So very fragile art. And at this point, I really want to thank Cosima Göpfert, who is the artist, who creates these amazing statues with true platinum coating. And yeah, so that's, yeah, put it in your cabinet, right next to the Oscar.
Great. We'll come to the next category, which is the special jury selection. And the award goes to Sounds of the Ocean by Joshua Samilla, Elise Line, Embodied Sounds.
Someone takes the judges, someone takes the money.
Someone takes the money.
Thank you.
With current concerns over the ecological health of the oceans, This FullDome film moves our hearts by bringing the beauty and majesty of the ocean and its inhabitants, leaving you with a sense of wellness and hope.
So if you've observed the ceremony attentively, you will have noticed that there were 2 Janus statues, Janii, which will be sent to their recipients somewhere out in the world, which means we've got 1 more left, and that is the Janus for the best FullDome audio production. This was decided by Josh and Christoph, who are with the Fraunhofer Institute and the Planetarium sound engineers, and they just basically kept their eyes shut and just listened to the audio track and discovered, as we all know, audio is just as important, as relevant as is the visuals. And what did the jury decide who would deserve the audio award? Holger.
Now, of course, we would need either another drum beat or a Tesla explosion.
Yeah,
of course, we would like to have a Tesla explosion. As a physicist, I always like Tesla explosions.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So the award, the sound award, goes to Future Ruhr. So the second one. Congratulations.
Like in the Oscar when they made him kiss, you know? Men det vet jag gärna var för det är det. That's the next.
Yeah, congratulations to everybody who won this prize. I'm Josh from the Fraunhofer Institute. We developed like a spatial sound wave system which is installed here. And I like the production very much because everything was well on point. The sound, the overall sound was very good. Every sample was very good created. Everything was well deserved in the 3D room. Everything, yeah, you felt like in the future and with a lot of industrial sounds like electronic music. Everything was well produced and congratulations. Very good work.
The voice of the sound jury. Thank you very much for taking time to listen to all these beautiful productions. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was the crop of the 22-3 contest. FullDome Awards, Janus Awards. The FullDome Festival is not over. We just know who won the awards. And we are even having, do we have the list for?
The honorable mentions?
Yes. Now, you see, it's a cruel job, and the jury will testify to this. It's a real cruel job to have magnificent individual shows that so much blood, sweat, and tears went into, and then sometimes it's just so tiny close, and you can't tear yourself apart and split a Janus in half. That would be too cruel to the Janus. But so we said, let's give out some honorable mentions to beautiful productions that deserve to be acknowledged. And there are a number of awards, honorable mentions. Now we just mentioned them. You don't have to run up stage because at this point there's nothing that you can get. But we'll send you a certificate that says honorable mention. And who are these honorable mentions?
Yes, it's always indeed the biggest pain for any jury to indeed decide who gets the prize when there are so many great participants. So the honorable mentions are Black Holes, Unknown Horizons by Juan Felipe Orozco Cano, Double Dome Films, Colombia, Moonbase, The Next Step by John Grafton, Graham Watts, Moonraker FVX, Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon by NSC Creative, Der Traumzauberbaum bei Hörraum Media GbR. Armstrong, die abenteuerliche Reise einer Maus zum Mond von der Stiftung Planetarium Berlin. I Don't Understand bei Augustina Covian, Alejandro Lucadamo, Collectivo 19. Broken Space and Fractal Way bei Alejandro Casales Estalamnek, Mexico. Dancing with Dead Animals bei Martin Isaac de Heer, Menetekel Film. Wannabe Spider bei Patrick Ballon. One Love by Anti-Boy by Moonspinner Productions, Michael J. Serrol. Asphyxia by Brian Rollon. And the final honorable mention is Opir with Shushu by Xenia Günther. Congratulations to all winners.
Thank you, Holger Becker, for making so many people really proud and happy. And what makes you even more proud and happy that we have wonderful Verpackungsmaterial in the back, so your precious statues don't crack as you in excitement. And possibly we should take this sacred moment and get all award winners, which is pretty much everybody who's out there. But please come up with your Janie E and Janus statues, and we'll have a group picture. And Simon, don't run away, because we want the group picture, of course, with audio track. Tesla group picture, audio track. And so I thought you'd just come up this way. I mean, here's the stage. You've overcome stage fright already, otherwise you wouldn't have won the thing. So please, everybody, join us here on stage for a group photo of the 2023 Festival Janus Award people. Yes. Also the honorable mentions, please. You deserve it. So all the honorable mentions who are here, please come up to the stage. Oh, this, did I say? Yeah,
No,
yes.
but this way. It's a good award. It's a good award. Quality control.
Stable, quality control, okay. Yes. Great. Half of the audience has one award, the other half has a handy and mobile phone. Okay, where is the Tesla soundtrack to this? Tesla man has stage fright. Yes, thank you, thank you. Yeah. So, as you can imagine, these Tesla explosions will be even cooler when it gets dark, and I can make the prediction that it will get dark, and Simon and the Tesla High Labs will do some performance and get you excited with the sounds that accompany the spiritual joy of having won a Janus Award, and which we all celebrate. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Mickey.
Thanks, Mickey, and thank you, Holger.
Okay, thank you, Holger. Thank you, thank you. This is how Bundestagsabgeordnete look like. Thank you. From Jena, live. Thank you all. So this is not the end. We'll have Tesla music here. And when it's getting a little darker, we have the Women of Techno and an all-night through club night. This is kind of Bonsai Berlin in Jena. And it goes through the night, maybe probably till the morning, 6 a.m. or something like this. Don't look at the watch.
Who needs Berghain when we have this here?
Okay.
Good.
Oder?
test.